If you're going through a hard time or a breakup with an avoidant and you've sought counsel or asked anyone what you can do, well, then you've heard this all before. Attachment coaches all tell you the same exact thing. Avoidants need consistency. They need safety. They didn't have these things during those important years when they were growing up. And those are the qualities that initially attracted them to you. And isn't that the whole point about getting your ex back? You're trying to re-attract them. It all sounds great. I'll bet you're aching to show your avoidant how much you care about them. Show them that they're safe in your arms. But wait. Now, I have a question. If DAs are such suckers for this loving behavior, then how come you are the one falling for it when they're love bombing you at the beginning of the relationship, and then the moment you fall for them and tell them you'll always be there for them? They hit the reverse gas pedal so hard they practically back over you as they go screeching down the street, never to be seen again. I feel like being backed over by a truck would probably hurt less, and heck, you might even heal faster. The thing that bothers me the most about these stories is beautiful, empathetic, well-intentioned people say they feel dumb after expressing their love to an avoidant, but believe me, I have been there. Hello friends, my name is Maria, and for almost 20 years I was always so focused on trying to make the other person happy so I would never lose them. Ironically, when I did lose them and they broke up with me, my focus only intensified. My preoccupation was fueled by my heartbreak and ex-back channels that were telling me to hold space for my avoidant ex, because let's face it, they're the ones who are really hurting in this situation. The line of thought that claims you must hold space for your avoidant ex as they step all over your heart on the way to do whatever's best for them is a lie. And if you're ready to finally accept that you do not have to accept responsibility for a DA's behavior when they're treating you with cruelty, then grab a bottle of nail polish and let's talk. I once slept with an avoidant man who I loved with my whole heart, only to have him ask me as soon as we were done if I would sleep out in the living room because I was agitating him with my post-coital pillow talk. At that time, he had already broken up with me, but I was trying to be his good little anxious attacher and give him everything he said that he needed. And apparently that night, after a couple of months of ignoring me, he decided what he needed was some bedroom fun. But I guess that's all he needed, which became glaringly obvious after I snoozed on the couch all night and barely got a goodbye from him in the morning. And you might ask, well, if that's all he really wanted, then why not just go out for a one-night stand? Well, because he knew how much I liked him. He knew that I would come right over, and it's kind of a cozy feeling knowing that you are adored, and he knew I adored him. He also knew that as soon as he went back to ignoring me, there was really nothing I could do about it. He had ignored me plenty of times in the past, and even though it was killing me on the inside, I was desperately trying to do what all those ex-back channels claim avoidants want. I was trying to be there for him consistently whenever he needed me to prove to him that it was safe for him to come back and be together with me again. But let's face it, there was no incentive for this guy to get back together with me. And now he can go forward living however he wants with no accountability and a woman who's pining for him in the wings. Actions like this are abusive, and I don't use that word lightly. I am using that word specifically in this instance because he knew how much I loved him, and he knew how much ignoring me the next day would hurt my feelings because I had told him more than once in the past how much his silence hurt me. Yet he did all of these things anyway. The night that we had been intimate together, earlier that evening, I was reaching out to him, testing the waters, because isn't that what they say to do? Like, wait 3 weeks and reach out to your avoidant ex. Well, I got an enthusiastic response, and he said, sure, come on over. However, I feel in my gut If he had been a more honorable person, he would have told me no. It might have hurt more in that instance, but it would have hurt a lot less in the long run. When someone knows that you want more from them, and they also know they have no real intentions with you, yet they continue to play hot and cold, and sometimes they accept your invitations, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes they answer you, and sometimes they don't, it's abusive. But I think men and women both do this, and that's why it's so emotionally exhausting to be a people pleaser. It's tough to always invest so much of your energy in people, only to find out later you're never going to get it back. But I digress. My point is, this kind of off and on behavior only intensifies these unrelenting, intrusive thoughts about your ex, and it heightens your confusion. I had a viewer pose a great question. You go on all these channels about attachments, and they're all talking about how we can change our approach and bend and be flexible for our avoidance and our avoidant exes. How come it's never about addressing what they need to do? And the short answer is because they won't do it. We are the ones doing the research. We are the ones willing to stick it out for the sake of the relationships. We are the ones watching the videos, reading the books, and let's face it, we are the ones willing to dish out money in order to buy a course telling us how we can finally get our ex back. And I think a big part of this problem is there's not a big enough platform for anxious people to finally have the voice that they never got in their relationship, that they never got in their breakup, to speak out and say, you know what, this is what it's really like to deal with an avoidant. All of these talking heads want to tell you what you did wrong to push them away, and how you need to change your behavior and be empathetic towards them because they had a sad childhood. And you know what? It's not the truth. You want the truth? Read the comments sections. I hadn't watched an ex-back channel in a very long time, but when I started this channel, I went back because I wanted to kind of get up to date on the information that people were being fed, and of course, never changed. But as I go back and look at it from more of an outsider perspective, it is alarming how different the messages in the comments look from the message being given in the video. I've heard coaches tell people that their avoidance fear is endearing, and they'll use these soft, cutesy little words like animal metaphors, they'll use a lot of times, and they'll say, oh, they get scared and they have to go hide and retreat back into their little turtle shell, and they make it sound so cute. It's not cute. It is abuse. It's abuse, and all you need to know to figure that out is read the comments of the people who are currently experiencing it. I almost choked on a pancake the other day because I was watching a video where an ex-back coach proclaimed to be an expert on dealing with avoidance because he had written articles and interviewed a top psychologist. He's read books. Great. How about you start with reading your own comments? Because those are the people who are actually being honest about what anxious and avoidant relationships are like, and they are being emotionally tortured and gaslit. With complete silence, by the way, coming from the person running the channel, because if you ain't got the dime, they don't have the time. If you would like a more in-depth look about how ex-back channels gaslight you, I do have a video called They Gaslight Your Breakup, and I'll go ahead and link it in the description down below. The main disconnect I see is also the main reason why therapy didn't really work for me that well. And I'm not knocking therapy, and if it works for you, please keep going. But I found more healing when I began to join communities and groups with other people who knew what it was like to go through what I had been through. And it validates that you're not dumb, you're not stupid, you don't need to feel like an idiot. This happened to you. Don't trust someone else's opinion over yours just because they read a few books. I gotta tell you, I am a terrible bowler. I could make the commitment to read 5 books tonight about bowling, but it won't make a lick of difference because at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to help me start knocking down pins is to get out there and get some real world experience. And this is what you must remember. You are the one who has had the real world experience of what it's like to be with or be dumped by an avoidant. They aren't the expert. You are the expert. Just a little side story to kind of bring the point home. So I used to work construction, and it was always a thing where, the crew working down in the pit didn't really get along with the supervisors because they saw them as the big fat cats sitting in the air-conditioned portable or the air-conditioned offices or their air-conditioned trucks, and all they're doing is giving orders. But they're not the ones actually out there in the trenches doing the really hard physical work. But they sure like to tell you how to do your job and what you're doing wrong. Well, I had one machine that I had been working for a year, and I was going through an issue with it where the truck was acting up on me. And no matter what I said to them, they kept telling me that I was the problem. I must not be working the controls right. And I was like, no, I'm not crazy. This is my machine. Something's wrong. So finally, one of my supervisors came up into the truck, not to help me out, but to show me why I was navigating the controls wrong. I must have been, right? And within 6 minutes of him driving that truck to show me what I needed to know, he broke it. The truck broke down. He didn't know how to really work it, because the thing is, you can come up with all these strategies and policies and read instruction books on how to control a machine, but unless you have experience doing it, I don't know, when you put it into practice, it kind of seems like the whole thing has potential to break down on you. There's a disconnect. Something is broken in this message, and that's because unless someone has ever experienced it, they have no idea what it's like. You're the one who's in it, and if you need the truth about how to navigate this situation with your avoidant or your avoidant ex, read the comments. You'll find the truth in the comments. You'll find the truth inside of yourself. Take all of these talking heads with a grain of salt, including me, because this channel is just based on me and my personal experience and my observations. Trust yourself enough to know that you are the one in the control seat. And if something inside of you feels icky when a coach tells you that you need to be more sympathetic to someone who is emotionally punching you in the face, it's okay to stand up and say, no, this isn't right. Stand up for yourself. You know the old saying, if you don't stand up for something, you're going to fall for nothing, and it will feel like you fell apart for nothing. And once you fall, it's going to be tough to pick yourself back up once you look around and realize that all of this time and energy and empathy and love has been poured into this ungrateful black hole, and that is when people begin to feel stupid. You are not stupid. It's just how abuse and gaslighting is designed to work. You're not stupid. Just stand up for yourself and start with small things. When you get that anxiety that starts to build up and you feel like you have to text your ex just one time, sleep on it and see if you don't feel better the next morning, knowing that you didn't embarrass yourself or diminish yourself by fearfully chasing your ex through sending them a text message. Really feel that kind of relief. It's not small, because instead of validating them with your attention, you gave your attention to the person who needs it most. And then tell yourself out loud that you are proud of yourself for loving yourself enough to stand up for yourself. You start with the small things, and that way when something big happens, like your orbiting avoidant ex wants to use you for a night of bedroom fun, you'll be the one who's like, you know what? No thanks. And then you won't get tangled up in this situation where you sleep with your ex, but even though they treat you like a jerk the very next day, it feels confusing in a way, like, my ex slept with me, so we must be getting closer to that prize of a relationship that I always wanted. I mean, at the very least, they find me attractive again. Well, welcome to the other half, where we know attraction is not just about looks. We also have to take care of the inner half. Because if you don't trust your gut enough to know your own truth, you will seek the truth from somebody who claims to be an expert just because they wrote a book and they're happy to take your money and help you get your ex back. And I understand business. They're in the ex back business. So technically, if they don't help you get your ex back, their business is failing. So sure, maybe someone can help you format just the right text to manipulate your ex to send you a text back, but is anybody asking why? What is the reason that you're willing to do anything or pay anything to get back someone who is treating you with such disrespect? And I feel like that's the main question that should be addressed here. Listen, I like to make money too, and I do have a Patreon. If you'd like to check it out, I'll put the link down below. But it's not to help you get your ex back, because even though I enjoy eating, I also have to enjoy sleeping at night. Regardless of what you're being told, there is no law that says you must continue living like this. You don't even have to finish watching this video. You can start today and change the entire course of your life. You don't have to contact your ex on their birthday to help make them feel safe, even though they completely blew you off on yours. You don't need to do anything. Do you think I still check in on my exes? Heck no. Do I feel bad about it? Heck no. Has not being empathetic to their feelings stopped me from living? No. If anything, I have way more of a life now that I'm not living as a shell of a human being waiting for someone else to validate my day. But I would like to take a moment to validate and celebrate a viewer who not only has decided to completely take his focus off of his ex, but he's also taking a big step back in dating. He wants to take some time temporarily to do some healing so he doesn't keep getting tangled up in relationships with these disrespectful women that he feels like, he has to stay with them because he suffers with a scarcity mindset. Well, I think in the long run, it's going to save him a lot of time because he's not going to be spinning his wheels anymore in these toxic, go-nowhere relationships. And all I have to say is, Music Man, you are playing my song. Stay strong in your no contact. And I have one challenge for you today. We're going to practice taking the focus off of your ex. And when this video ends, I don't care what's queued up. I don't care what's linked up high or down below. The next video you watch, make it only a video about you. Even if you go back to watching ex-back videos today, the one after this one, make it where you are learning at least one new positive thing. Like learn how to do a proper squat, learn how to quit smoking, learn maybe what the next 5 books you should read before the end of the year are. I mean, anything that has nothing to do with anyone else and only focuses on improving something big or small in your life. I know we can get really caught up in the addictive loop of trying to get our ex back and watching ex back videos, but in honor of Friday the 13th, I'm challenging you to do something a little scary today. Practice taking your attention off of your ex, even if it's only for the next 20 minutes. Don't worry. You don't have to be too scared because I'll bewitch you very soon. If this video helped you, so will this one. Don't click on it though. Own the challenge. My name is Maria Adriana. You did not have to live my life, but I certainly hope you can learn something from it. As always, thank you for visiting the other half.